Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Check Your Minimap Podcast. I'm your host, Threshold Breaker, but call me THB, and I'm joined by Ansem.
Hey guys.
Today we'll be discussing Star Wars Battlefront. Specifically, pre-order standard and deluxe edition. Is it worth it this time around? The trailer, which technically had no gameplay. Alpha/beta signups. When will those release dates be? There is no campaign, but this game has co-op and a multiplayer, and where does that fall in line for people? How do people value this product? So let's kind of roll into the pre-order. If you pre-order the game, you get early DLC access to the Battle of Jakku. This is nothing new for a pre-order package from EA Dice. It's the same business model. The standard edition, as always, $59.99 USD. Game releases, just so you guys know, November 17, 2015. Some of the details in the standard edition, you'll be able to play on iconic planets such as Hoth, Endor, Tatooine, and previously unexplored planet called Solust. You also have access to speeder bikes, massive AT-ATs. I call them AT-ATs, some people call them AT-ATs. The Millennium Falcon, X-Wings, TIE Fighters. You can play as memorable characters, including Darth Vader, Boba Fett, and more. Also including C-3PO and R2-D2. I like R2-D2 better. I don't know about you, Ansem.
I don't really have a favorite.
You like R2-D2. You have co-op mode. We've discussed this, and an interesting feature is you can actually transition between first-person and third-person views easily. I mean, I guess they mean that from a first-person shooter to a third-person shooter perspective versus the vehicle, right, Ansem? That's what I assume they mean.
Yeah, and it's also said that it's not supposed to be too far back, so you won't be able to corner peek quite as easy and really do the head glitching and whatnot you can in third person. So as long as they do actually keep it nice and tight to the person, it won't be too ridiculous.
What concerns me is that when you run into third person and you're going from first person shooter to third person shooter, you do run into that issue of camera angles. I guess you're just gonna have to pick your spots, possibly.
Yeah, and it also puts in the question: is there an ADS bonus?
That's a valid point. I didn't even think about that. That's good point. I don't know. Would they consider that to be hip fire though? Right? Like if they're giving you that third person perspective. Well, I mean, it wouldn't be hip fire. I'm sure you could aim down sights in third person. They probably will give you that feature. You could probably do both, is what I'm saying.
Most likely. I mean, I know that other games like GTA 5 has hip fire and ADS, and they have first and third person. I know other games have done it too. It's just going to be interesting how they decide to go about this road.
Right. Now, the standard edition and the deluxe edition don't vary in the details much as of yet. EA Dice hasn't released yet if they're going to implement battle packs or a veteran patch of sorts. Also, personally, I don't know if an Ultimate Edition has been talked about for this game. I know they had a PS4 promotional kind of package.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested because I know that they're trying to really change it up. I know they want it to not seem anywhere close to their other franchises like Battlefield and stuff like that. And one of the ways that I know they did that is they completely and utterly have went back to in-game menus. You will not be doing some website like Battlelog or anything like that. All of the server searching and menus and everything you do normally on Battlelog will be built into the game itself.
Huh, that's interesting. I guess we can move into the deluxe edition now. I mean, there really hasn't been much information about this game as of yet, as we're kind of a few months out from the November release date. Some of the deluxe edition features, which is valued at $70 USD, it's the DL-44 blaster. That's the one Han Solo used, in case you guys didn't know that. The ion grenade, the ion torpedo, the ion shock, which is an emote, and the victory is an emote as well. I'm not too sure how that's going to be featured in the game.
Yeah, every single time they're like, you get 2 exclusive emotes. And I'm like, where are we using these emotes? Is there an emote feature in the chat box now?
What is this, Steam? Do we get badges too on our profile page? Oh, God help them.
I don't know. And I don't see any of these lovely pre-order benefits being all that beneficial. Okay, they take a game like a week's worth of play and just hand it to you. Here's all your week's worth of experience, basically, because you can unlock all of those weapons and whatnot in the game itself. You don't have to pre-order. You can just go through and level up per usual.
That's a good thing, though, right?
Well, yes. That means that, stuff's not locked behind a paywall, or there's some sort of system where they basically reward pre-orders and hinder everyone else. I mean, that's a great thing and all, but at the same time, two emotes basically make me wonder, was that the best you could come up with?
Well, we'll get into that when we talk about the no campaign mode. So, like, with all that being said, I did some digging around the internet, and I know you did as well. But an interesting feature I came across was, from Boogie2988 Twitter page, and he retweeted a chart basically stating that he was told this is a more accurate chart of what Star Wars Battlefront game would be. And the chart is described as follows. The number of maps that you get is going to be 8 total. I would assume that's 8 total, 4 planets, initially starting out with the game. The number of players is 20 versus 20, which is true to the 40 players. Space battles, there are none. Moddable, there isn't any. DLC, there's 5 planned. DLC packs, so that's a lot. There is no campaign, which is unfortunate. Ansem, I don't know if you want to kind of take it over from here.
Yeah, I got it. There's a previous mode and other stuff that has been standard, and they just don't really have it. We've got Galactic Conquest, Instant Action, non-existent. We don't have it. Infantry types, loadout, all you have is basically loadouts and a couple of heroes, as we know it right now. Obviously, the DLCs will bring others. They may not have mentioned some because they've been being very tight-lipped about basically any information on this game to begin with. We did get the tiny little commercial, and that's about it. There's some playable vehicles, as we mentioned. I think we covered them all. All I know is the AT-AT or AT-AT is not playable. It is a complete AI. You will have them as part of a map, game mode, and that's it. So that's just all there is to it. I mean, you literally don't get to play this part. So leaving that alone. There's no AI additional players to our understanding. So if you join a server that has, 10 on 10, you're not going to have 10 extra guys on your team that are AI. There's only going to be the classic era. None of the prequel. It's all episode 4, 5, and 6 from our understanding.
So after all that, I mean, the chart was pretty informative. Limited information, but it's what we have to work with at the moment. The trailer. It was a fantastic trailer. I mean, they did their job. They can cut a trailer. No dispute in that. I wanted to buy the game, really, after viewing the trailer. However, they didn't really show any in-game footage, right? They didn't show first person switching to third person. They didn't show any of the features they talk about. They had the majority of the internet in the palm of their hand at that time, and they were like, we don't need to do it. We'll just show it to the people that are there at the convention. I'm sorry, but what the fuck? Seriously?
I don't understand. I don't know what they're thinking when they are like, let's not release information. Let's put every Star Wars fan on the edge of their seat and see how that works out for us. I'm not really sure why they thought that was a great idea. I would have released content. I know that the people that went to the convention said that when seeing the gameplay that they saw on a PS4, that it is on par graphically with the trailer that we saw. But the fact is the trailer that everybody got to see that's not it. That was rendered with the Frostbite engine, doing all of the stuff that is, but it's not actual gameplay. Why would you not at least put in 10, 15, even 30 seconds of gameplay?
I don't know the answer to that. What are we, in a select few group now that people who come to the convention get to see all the bells and whistles? I mean, what kind of logic is that? That's stupid. I mean.
Well, it makes me worry because it's DICE Sweden, and DICE Sweden has had some issues, and they're not picking up the gauntlet. People have thrown down, been like, you guys have screwed up time and time again on all of this stupid stuff that was easily fixable, and yet they're not picking up the gauntlet. They're not coming toe to toe. They're not laying it on the line, which makes me wonder what in God's name are they hiding?
Yeah, and that really leads into alpha and beta signups. That really does. Like, exactly what you're talking about is exactly some of my concerns. I know this is a business. I know people need to make their money. But when you're asking people to pre-order your game before you advertise to sign up for alpha or beta testing, that's annoying to me. And it raises red flags and questions to me. Do you not want your people to play your game and give you constructive feedback before a release date in November? And by the way, that's not a lot of time. You have to go through alpha, which you didn't do. So it's going to be a beta sign up more than likely. Unless you have like a shotgun alpha. The other question I had is there something in the game that the developers know can't be fixed in a certain time frame so that they're delaying alpha and beta testing from happening? I mean, I think those are fair questions. You're not allowing the world to see the game. You're allowing the people at the convention behind closed doors behind closed curtains without recording devices and just word of mouthing it back to their YouTube channel. Specific people. Not everybody, but specific people.
Yeah, I don't know why they're being so secretive. I mean, I can understand to a degree holding back. I really can understand. I know that there's business practice. I know that they're doing their stuff. I know they want to do the best, hopefully. That's what they're after. But they're not presenting a good image. And that's just all there is to it. If you're going to hold out, you're going to make everybody not want to pre-order.
I, for one, with my past experience, obviously, and what happened with my past experience, we won't get into it. I'm not going to pre-order this game. Nothing personal against the game. It's more so against the company. That's where I stand on it.
I'm right there with you. I mean, I said I wasn't going to pre-order a couple of their titles, and I ended up doing it anyways. And now I'm sitting in your seat. I'm not pre-ordering because I am worried that they're going to fuck something up.
You know what? It's all well and good if you fuck something up and you own it, right? You own it. You're like, you know what, guys? We screwed up. We're going to do our due diligence. We're going to fix it. Even if they came out this month and said, hey guys, look, the reason why we didn't show it at the convention, and it was, I don't know the exact name, but it was some sort of Star Wars convention that was happening a month ago or a couple of weeks back.
Correct.
That's why I'm not stating specifically what the convention was, but he said, look guys, the reason why we're not showing it, it's not exactly ready to the point that, it's not perfected to the point that we'd like it. That's why we're showing it to a set amount of people, which is all well and good, and that's fair, and I can understand that. But if you don't say anything, and this is repetitive of Battlefield 3, people are going to raise eyebrows, people are going to ask questions, people are going to ask more questions than they would if you fucking made a statement.
Yeah, no, I mean, if they're even contemplating doing anything like the behavior they've showed in the past, releasing Battlefield 3, was it, or Battlefield 4, they released the beta that was a holder from a previous edition that had nothing to do with the game they were going to sell. If you do something like that, that's wrong.
I'm sorry, you're right. It's Battlefield 4. That's my fault. Sorry about that, guys. It's Battlefield 4. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, I mean, if they're gonna do this kind of practices again, are you? Oh my god, why would you dare even tread on this community again like this? Do you want your company to go under? Do you want people to boycott? Like, why would you do that?
All these things that we talk about, and I'm not trying to just make a turning point, but truthfully, like the no campaign thing, but it has co-op and multiplayer. Do you value the game? And I don't mean it. Originally, when I thought about this, I thought about price, right? It's not really like that. I'm cross with this because traditionally to me an FPS is campaign and multiplayer, right? I think a lot of people would agree with that. Campaign multiplayer. Over the past few years, different companies and titles have put their own, flavor on what an FPS should be. That's okay to me. But when you take away like a core piece of a game like EA Dice did, in this specific case, it loses some value to me. No, I mean overall value. I don't mean necessarily monetary value. Now, just to explain my point, where I'm crossed is that I feel that developers, and I'm going to go back to monetary on this, I'm sorry guys, but they should get paid for their work. 100%, they do their work, they do their due diligence, they should get, paid for their. However, I just don't grasp how they can possibly skip on a campaign with such a story-rich environment? To me, it's inexcusable. If there was ever a time, and you've said it, Ansem, like pick up the gauntlet. If there was ever a time to make a redeeming campaign, it was this game. Even though we know that the core of the game revolves around, episodes 4, 5, and 6, it just seems to me a little lazy on their part. Also, to me, it seems that they were fearful. It wasn't of the Battlefield community, but it's the Star Wars community. And what would happen if they screwed up the campaign mode? There'd be a shitstorm.
Well, at this point, there might be a shitstorm anyways. I mean, I completely agree about the campaign thing. They should have picked up the gauntlet. They should have done better. And what's even worse, the thing that I truly worry about, I know pissing off the Star Wars community is one of the worst things you could ever do on this planet. But what I'm also truly worried about is not just for this game, it's for every game that comes after it. One EA title, one AAA title is allowed to go without a campaign, and they will all go without a campaign. We will lose a core fundamental of our game.
And I was having a heated debate with one of our community members about it, and I mean, he was passionate about his points, I was passionate about my points, and eventually we met on a middle ground. But yeah, yes, I talk about monetary value and the value of the game overall. It's you lose a core element, and you're left there scratching your head. Co-op is a great feature, but when you start transitioning co-op for campaign mode, it sets an ugly precedent, in my opinion. It's like, oh well, Call of Duty can do this now, and I'm not. We always bring up Call of Duty because it's a relevant comparison.
Well, they are another large title that rakes in quite a lot of money with their games.
They're their direct competitor. There's no two ways about it.
The fact is, I look forward to this game because I would love to see Battlefront come back. I didn't get to play the original Battlefronts like I wanted to, but it looked like a decent first-person shooter that I didn't want to see go, and did. So hopefully they can bring it back. They can do it right. There are just some things that seem like big, giant taboos that they're doing, and they really need to stop.
I want to take a page at a World of Warcraft's book, and yes, it's had its ups and downs, and it's a completely different genre. But one of the things they did well was that they did listen to the community. Adamantly, they listened to the community. Man, it's one of the longest running MMORPGs to date. Yes, I know there's EverQuest and other games, and we may get a little bit off topic here, but they really need to be more transparent. And there's a scary thought, these are the same old devs from the original launch of Battlefield 4, and if they're not transparent, this game could fail. So I'm saying, listen to your community, don't be so stubborn in your pride to the point where it screws over your project, and try to focus on making a better game, or at least give details about your game.
Truly, I mean, I know that you said a lot of examples from other games, but let's really go ahead and rein this in and really hit it home. DICE LA, beloved by the entire Battlefield community because they have transparency, because they have CTE, because they're fixing your mistake. Please don't make it again. Please take from your brothers and learn the lesson.
Exactly. That's all I'm saying. I know I got a little bit off topic there, but I'm just saying. Also, just so you guys know, there is going to be a new patch release for Battlefield Hardline. They are making massive amounts of changes. It is on my Twitter page. It is on the Check Your Minimap Twitter page. So if you want to check that out, it has all the details for the changes coming to Battlefield Hardline. So I would definitely check that out. CT is not lost on Battlefield Hardline. It is alive and well, and it is the first big patch coming, Battlefield Hardline.
Speaking of CTE, let's also throw in that the scale design map of the community map project is also on CTE for Battlefield 4, and I rather enjoy it. I wish there was a little bit more cover, but it is very nice looking.
Okay, guys, so we're going to wrap this thing up here. Again, my name is THB, and I'd like to thank Ansem for contributing to the podcast. If you like the conversation or just want to contribute your 2 cents about specific subjects, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. For further information on the subject, I would leave all our cited sources in the details section below. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast and continue to listen to us as the first season goes on. We will see you in the next episode.
See you guys.